Welcome to the Do You Podcast graduation series. I am Boyder. And listen, if you want the whole lowdown on what this series is all about, head to my last interview with Thais because I really dig into it on the intro there. But if you want the quick version, I can break it down here. This series of interviews is for anyone who's in a period of their life, in their work, in their career where they're saying, what the heck do I do now? You have some ideas, you have some thoughts, but you just don't know how to take that next step, all right? So whether that's leaving high school, college, going job to job, or trying to start a business or a company, right? We're all having to answer these questions of, hey man, what are your plans? And you know what? You really want to dig into those plans, but you don't even know where to start. So what I did was I got a bunch of friends, some people that I don't know too well. I just hit them up on the internet, and I'm interviewing them based on those career transitional moments. And the guests that I'm interviewing are truly people who I admire, who have built cool things after having to answer that question, what are your plans? So this episode right now is pretty neat because it's my friend Bryan Angelo, and he started his own marketing firm at the age of 18 while juggling college at the same time. And when he came out of college, he sold his firm, and that company that he built at the age of 18 eventually became his biggest portfolio piece to land his job. And it really came from him creating something from scratch at a very young age. So I am going to introduce you now to my friend Bryan Angelo. All right, I am on the phone, the Skype machine phone with Bryan Angelo.
What's up? What's up?
How are you living? Where are you, man?
Right now, I'm in Tampa, Florida, living it up.
And you hail from where?
New Jersey.
New Jersey. And we met on the internet when you were, what, 18, 19? It's weird. It's weird to say we met on the internet.
Yeah, we met on the internet when I was 18.
No, well, you know what? I was actually telling a friend about how you and I met on the internet, and I think I want to tell the story of how we met real fast, only because in an era where a lot of people are sliding in DMs, you know, you have to set yourself apart. And when you were reaching out to me, that was during a period in my life when a lot of people were reaching out to me.
I know, man. It was like a hustle. It was like a hustle on my end to even get in touch with you.
Well, yeah. And you gotta kind of have like a ninja assault tactic about it, but also be tactful. And what I liked the most, and I think what's compelling about how you did it was, I remember like maybe you reached out one or two times. I don't remember if I responded or not. Maybe I was like, oh, that's cool, man. And but the problem is like it's hard to trust people from across the internet waveform, you know?
For sure.
Then what happened? I think all of a sudden you reached out to me and you designed a complete new web page for my clothing line. And you took that initiative. You weren't like everyone else is like saying, "Hey, can we work together? Hey, can we work together?" And you decided, you know what? We're working together, and I'm gonna make this without your input or not. And then you literally made it, and I was like, "Yo, that's awesome. Let's run with that. Why not?" You know. And now that was probably 6 years ago, and we're good buddies to this day.
I know. Yeah, man, I can't believe that. That's insane. I
Why
can't
did
believe
you
it's been
do
that
that?
long. I think a lot of it just came down to just wanting that hustle. And
Yeah.
like, I mean, I always seeing you guys just constantly working and like getting after it and everything that you guys were doing.
But,
I was just like, damn, I got to get in touch with these
yeah.
guys and I
Well,
want to work with them.
well, I'm
And
sure. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I'm
oh
sure
no,
you know at that time you were making a lot of connections for your marketing firm. How would you phrase your company?
yeah, my previous company, Empowered Media Group.
Yeah. And
Yep, I was.
and at that time you were probably making a lot of connections like of the sort. You know, you were reaching out to a bunch of people. I was just one of them.
Um, yeah, and I think I mean, at that point in my life too, just because I was so young, I was kind of a little bit more picky as far as like who I wanted to work with and where I saw people would kind of benefit me the most, because I always kind of made it a point to surround myself and connect myself with individuals that I felt would only better myself and better what I want to do. And that's where it kind of came into, reaching out to you guys and wanting to work with you, because that was at that time, like that brand was like everything that I wanted to be a part of. You know what I'm saying?
I'm all about that. Now tell me about your entrepreneurial history.
Definitely, man. I mean, do you want me to go like all the way to the beginning, or do you want like?
Bring me back to sort of because I mean, weren't you like touring or like DJing, or you were just doing random
I
stuff
was,
to
man, and
hustle
it
when you were like 16 or
started.
17?
Yeah, man, it even started like somewhat before that too. I remember, I think it was probably when I was like a sophomore in high school. I was really into art and just like drawing and concepting things on paper with just pen and paper, and I ended up selling one of my designs to this clothing company in Philadelphia, and they did like this whole artist series line, released the shirt. I was like 16. I remember being in like some sketchy shop that was selling my T-shirts and drinking like beer out of a basement, and I was just like, "What is my life right now?" And that's what kind of just kicked it off. I want
You
that.
wanted more of
Was
that?
probably the moment.
You
Yeah,
wanted more
I wanted
sketchy
more.
basements with
I
beer.
I did exactly, and that kind of probably just circles back to how we met on the internet. But that's that's neither here nor there. But I think that after that, I realized that I wanted to create, and I wanted to do things that I love doing and make money for it. And that's where that kind of spun into me taking up graphic design and selling designs to other
Hmm.
clothing brands. And then, I dabbled myself with my own clothing brand, and kind of just realized that that wasn't the best route for me to go. So I went back to just selling designs to small businesses, and working on like branding and marketing materials with smaller companies just in my area, like around my high school. And when I graduated from high school is when it really just kind of took off, and that's when I started Empowered Media Group.
And you started Empowered Media Group simultaneously while going to school, correct?
Yeah, I did, and I think it all kind of started after my summer semester at Bloomsburg, because after that is when I did the DJ. My buddy was a DJ. We were touring, just kind of hustling, going around to like all these college parties, and just making money, like literally partying and doing what we love to do. And after that summer, I realized I have like a knack for doing what I want to do, and selling and figuring
That's a
out what I
good
want to
knack to
do.
have.
Yeah, exactly, right.
Trying to find that knack.
Just trying to find it. But I realized that empowered can be so much more, and that's when I kind of figured out what exactly the business model was going to be and what the strategy was going to be. And I ended up not going back to Bloomsburg, and I ended up going to community college for 2 years because I wanted to focus on that business. And I kind of probably put my education second for the most part, but in the end, it was all worth it.
Well, that's interesting. One of the other guests on this podcast series is Tim Weber, who started Good Music All Day.
Oh yeah, I know.
And
Talked to Tim a few times.
yeah, I know that you guys are connected somehow, shape, or form, but he mentioned that you guys have kind of a similar trajectory where he went to one of his mentors. I don't know if I'm hoping I'm paraphrasing the story correctly, but around like his second or third year of college, after he transferred once, he went to like a mentor or one of his professors there, and the professor advised him. He said, "Hey, listen, man, you go to college to create opportunity for your future. Now, you already did this with your site." He was like, "This is you're gonna have to pick one of these. Go full fledged on this opportunity while you can, and help it grow. If your education isn't helping to impact the future of that, then you're gonna have to choose one or the other." So you created your own opportunity while you were in school.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. I mean, that professor couldn't have nailed it on the head anymore. I mean, there's so many times where I'd be sitting in class and just kind of thinking about Like, how is this benefiting what I want to do? And you realize that the concept of education and college itself is to really kind of educate you, prep you for the real world, and kind of present you with those opportunities. But if you're able to create those opportunities outside of school and it's something that you're passionate about, you're going to work 10 times harder at it than you ever will in school.
I love it, man. And now, so you're about 20 years old. You have this booming marketing firm. What did you call it? Marketing agency, digital marketing. You guys did it
Uh,
all.
yeah, it was pretty much like a digital marketing agency where we focused a lot on web and branding. So I had some developers and I was kind of pretty much taking care of the branding and design side.
So you're working with, you're running the company, you're designing it, but you're also getting, these clients that range from building, apps to working with, large real estate agencies, correct?
Yeah, yep, that's exactly it. And we dabbled a little bit with some pharmaceutical companies as well, and we had a nice niche with just some startups in general, which were always a lot of fun to work with.
That's awesome, man. Um, Now, what was if you were doing it again, right? How would you? So, how old are you now? Because you're still very young.
24, just
You're
turned 24.
you just oh yeah, happy birthday by the way.
Thanks, man.
I forgot to text you and I felt bad about it.
It's all good.
What did you do?
What did I do? It was kind of like a blur. I mean, it was like 2 nights back to back that I was out, and
Back to back.
oh yeah, I kind of just played that the whole
Nice, nice.
time.
So, did having the business help the way you learned? So you could actually apply it to a real life thing as you're learning. You know?
100%, man. I mean, I think that a lot of a lot of what I learned, um, pretty much with what I do now, came from a series of multiple failures within my own business.
Okay.
And that was kind of the biggest thing because I'm a huge believer in there's people out there that kind of talk about it, like, oh, I've never really experienced like failure, like everything I've done is like worked. Like I don't believe you. I don't believe you
Well,
whatsoever.
I mean, maybe that's true. They're just not doing anything challenging or pushing or growing their, past their limits.
That could be. I mean, yeah, that could be it too.
You know,
But I think to like truly to grow, you can't really like fall behind. I feel like a lot of times people kind of stay within their own realm. They don't reach out into getting new ideas, and they're just kind of in their own heads. And when you fall behind and you start losing the grasp of where you're at and what you want to do, and you're not challenging yourself to pivot, you're not going to be able to successfully like adapt or even educate yourself further.
what are some what are three things that you can trace the success of your business to? Three qualities of yourself that you can trace why the business succeeded and why you were able to sell a business by the age of 23.
You know what? I think a lot of it was self-recognition, and that's definitely probably one of the biggest keys is being able to realize when you're pushing the limits on what you can do, um, and when you need to kind of dial it back, and when that you can actually trust yourself and kind of take on that calculated risk and push forward. So I think that was a big part of it. I think another part of it would probably be just my ability to kind of network and talk to people, and kind of build these relationships with other people, because no matter what, it's always worth to burn a bridge in the long run. I think when you can develop really strong relationships with people, that's going to be the key to building a business, because every person is going to be a brand advocate for you and what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And so if they can refer new business to you, they're going to be the ones that, kind of help push your business forward. I mean, the majority of how business is created is from word of mouth and referrals. It's very hard to just sit there and cold call people and, just build a relationship. 9 times out of 10, someone who is going to refer you or you're going to get from a referral is most likely going to retain business with you because, they're getting that from a trusted source themselves. So I think the building the relationships was definitely probably another key. I think the other one was probably just, staying on top of research and adapting to stay relevant with what was going on in the market too, and just in the industry.
I would, with the second one that you said in about relationships, I would, that's sort of is the reason why I brought up the question, because there's something about you that stands out just in our dealings together. And I noticed that you're a giver of ideas. So a lot of people hold on to stuff and they try to protect their stuff, and they become closed off, and that's tough for building relationships. But
Definitely.
as an entrepreneur myself and someone that's rallying people to get behind certain ideas, you're always someone that I could count on, that you would always bounce your ideas right back with me.
Definitely, man. I mean, I think that, I think that a lot of that comes from being in the industry of marketing and being in the industry of digital marketing, that everyone thinks that, they have these ideas that they need to, hold like covenant to themselves, and they don't want to share it. But, by doing that, you're actually limiting the amount of conversation that you can have, and you're actually limiting your ideas, because I could have an idea that I kind of bounce off someone, and they could think of it in a completely different way and just kind of like run with that idea, which kind of like gives me light, be like, oh, why didn't I think of it that way? Like, that's actually, a great way to do it. When you have those like conversations, and you kind of just bounce ideas off of people, they grow into so much more than just your idea. Because at the end of the day, you can have an idea, but without like a team or without people that also see that idea, that vision, it's not going to go anywhere. You can't do everything all by
Yeah,
yourself.
you're absolutely right. Now, uh, the next question is kind of twofold. Have you ever had to deal with unsupportive people? So whether it's loved ones or friends or people that just didn't support what you were doing, that weren't with what you were doing, and then if that's the case, how do you respond in a positive way about that?
Damn, that's a good question. You know what? I've never even thought about that, or maybe that's actually something that I've never recognized in people. Maybe it's because I never developed a relationship with someone where it all of a sudden went towards like, wow, this person really doesn't support what I want to do, or,
Yeah.
they're not supportive of what I want to do. And maybe I kind of cut that off before that even got there. But man, I can't.
Well, I mean, maybe it's just your attitude on life. If you're just saying you don't have that at all, then that's brilliant. Then.
I think a lot of it came from, I mean, like you said, being so young and working in that industry and trying to gain clients. I mean, there were so many times where I'd go into meetings or, meet with clients, and they would be like, "How old are you? Like, you're 18? Like, how are you gonna figure out what I want to do? I
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
even figure it out." And it's like, I think a lot of that was kind of where that drive came from, because that was probably the most negative aspect of my
yeah.
career, with these people that just kind of like shunned you away because of your age. So you would just push even harder just to prove them wrong.
So when you moved home and you were starting your business, there was no one around you that was saying like, "Hey, what's he doing? Like, why isn't he just going to school and being a kid?"
Uh, Dude, actually, there probably was a lot of that, and it was probably a lot like behind the doors, and people probably didn't get it, or maybe they thought I was still running a clothing line, because I remember when I was probably halfway through, probably like 2 years into running my company, and I'm like doing something completely different. People are like, "Oh, how's like the clothing line going?" And I was
Yeah,
just like,
yeah.
"What?" I haven't done that in years, but yeah, I think that for the most part, I think I kind of just surrounded myself with friends that kind of had that same hustle and that same drive. And like you said, I mean, a lot of my friends went away to school, so some of my close friends were still home, but at that point, it was pretty much just me and my company, and kind of building new relationships. Like most people do when they go away to college, they build new friendships with new people, and being at a community college and focusing on my business, I built relationships with the people that I'm working with. So you kind of just surround yourself with that same like-minded people, that it just kind of helps you build and move forward.
Now, when you graduated and then you moved to Florida, um, correct me if I'm wrong. You ended up getting hired by a company and
Yep.
selling some of your other company.
Yeah. Yep. So
Is that
part
all?
of
Can we talk about that all in the air?
We could talk about a little bit of it.
Okay, well, no, not all of it. I'm just saying bring up those facts, and then
Yeah.
I kind of want to parlay that into the question of did having a company on your resume and building it and showing success, how did that help in acquiring a job after college?
Dude, it was 100% crucial in me getting the position that I'm at now. And you know, having that on my resume and the things that I worked on really resonated with the partners at the company I'm at now. And the company I'm at now, you know, shout out Foundry 119 in Tampa. You know, they're a great group of people, and they're on that same mission that I was with my company, but they have the resources and the team to just kind of take it that step further.
Okay.
And you know, they have that same vision of developing something that's going to help other businesses grow, and they saw that same passion in me and what I was doing. And you know, at first, and I've talked to a couple of the owners about it, and they were like, "Oh, you know, who's this like 23-year-old kid coming in here and like saying he's gone through all this stuff?"
Yeah.
And then you show them and you kind of walk them through like everything that you've gone through with like your business, and they realize it's the real deal, and that's what kind of really sold them. And they've even, you know, voiced that to me many a times, where they were like, at first we had no idea if you were just like a really good bullshitter or what, but it's like until you like got into it and dove into it and proved to us, you know, that, you know, you're on that level, we had no idea. So I think that what I did in my company was 100% crucial for me kind of getting this job.
Okay, so let's do like the three wind down questions then. It's
Perfect.
it'll maybe be four if I feel cocky. All right, so we're gonna wrap this up with a couple questions, and you can answer them as fast or as slowly as possible.
Perfect.
If you were given $500 right now as a graduation gift, and you had to use it towards the next move in your life, what would you do? What would you do with that?
Oh man, I'd probably invest that in something that would kind of just something that I could build off of that. You know, whether it was investing in like, damn, dude, this is a hard fucking question. $500. You're putting me on the spot, man. Damn, these are tough. You're gonna have to cut like half this shit.
Nah, it's all good. It's all good. It could be books. It could be marketing materials. Um,
Actually, that's a good point. I would probably invest half of that into, you know, new marketing books because I love just, you know, reading different marketing books, and then I would probably invest the second half of that into building some sort of platform that I've been wanting to build for a while, and something that I could monetize for sure.
all right. If a graduate came up to you and said, "Hey, what's one book that you could recommend to me as I go through this transition? Whether it's a high school graduate, college graduate, or just someone that is, you know, maybe just looking for a career change or switching up their whole flow. What book would that be?"
I would probably say Nothing to Lose, Everything to Gain by Ryan Blair. It's probably one of my favorite books, and it's just absolutely incredible for any entrepreneur, student, anyone that just kind of feels stagnant in their career. This will give you the motivation that you need to kind of push forward.
Beautiful. And if you could write one tagline on a fortune cookie that every graduate in the world would get, it would be waiting on their seat on their day when they're walking down and they're getting that they're getting their honors straps and they're throwing their hats in the hair. They get to read the tagline that's in that fortune cookie that you created. What does that tagline say?
I would probably say adapt to stay relevant. I think that if you are in front of the wave or if you're on top of the wave, either way, you're going to make it to shore. But if you're behind that wave, you're going to be stuck at sea forever.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. That's good. Might get that.
Well, dude, get it tatted.
I'm gonna get that tatted. tatted on my wall. I don't like permanent stuff on my skin. All right. So, and what's your meaning? How do you define success?
I would say that so far I've defined success by being 100% content and happy with what I'm pursuing in my career. If I've forever felt that it wasn't the right thing for me or the right thing that I was doing, I wouldn't think that I was going towards being successful. And that's kind of where it went with Empowered Media Group. And that's one of the reasons that I kind of had to swallow my pride and like hang up my hat for that, you know?
Man, that's a great way to wrap up this podcast interview, man.
Beautiful.
We bring it full circle. We talk about, oh man, I love it. I love it. Well, best of success to you. I know that we're gonna keep collaborating in our life. You're one of my favorite people to work with.
Definitely, man, for sure.
Now, if you want people to find you on the internet, where can they find Bryan Angelo?
They can find me at bryanangelo.com and that's Bryan with a Y, by the way. And they can find me at EMG Bryan on Instagram.
All right, my good man. Well, you have a great night, and we'll be in touch.
All right, thanks, Tom. I appreciate it, man.
Take care.
Later.
All right, my good friend, thank you for listening to that conversation. If you have any advice or feedback or just want to give a shout, send your email to tomboyd2@gmail, tomboyd2@gmail. I appreciate your time. Have a fantastic weekend and keep doing you.